It's taken me nearly a week to gather my thoughts and emotions about Fire in the Mountains because the magnitude of this experience is overwhelming in so many different ways. Coming home and returning to normal life has a way of abruptly unplugging everything. After spending so many days completely immersed in the festival, the music, the work, the people, and the community surrounding it, the sudden return can genuinely feel depressing. At the same time, reflecting on everything that happened throughout my time there brings me an enormous amount of joy, gratitude, and enthusiasm, not only for returning next year, but for whatever else may grow from the relationships and experiences created there. I had a uniquely layered experience at Fire in the Mountains this year. I was an attendee as part of the security team, as a performer with my band Galvanist, and as a father watching my son and my stepson become part of the crew themselves. I was able to experience the festival from nearly every angle imaginable, and each one gave a different reason to appreciate what Fire in the Mountains actually is. It's obviously a music festival, and the music was incredible, but that description alone does not come close to covering it. It's a massive collaborative effort built through trust, work, culture, purpose, hospitality, and an unusually genuine sense of community. There are countless people doing difficult and largely unseen work to make the experience possible. There's also moments throughout the week where the lines between artist, staff, attendee, volunteer, friend, community member, and just about any other role seem to disappear entirely. First, I want to express my gratitude to the Blackfeet Nation, the Firekeeper Alliance, the Red Eagle Campground, and everyone who welcomed us and allowed this event to exist within their community. That welcome should never be taken casually or treated as though the location is simply just a beautiful backdrop for a concert. Being there is a privilege. The conversations, the teachings, ceremonies, the students, landscape, and people are inseparable from the identity and purpose of that festival. Some of the most important parts of the week were not performances at all. They were conversations, explanations, stories, workshops, shared meals, small acts of kindness, and moments that gave people a better understanding of where they were and why the event exists there. That welcome should never be taken for granted. I also want to thank several artists who made the experience especially meaningful for me personally. Specifically, Steve Von Till, Mike Scheidt, Ivar Bjornsson, and John Baisley, who were all incredibly friendly, personable, and inspiringly enthusiastic about being a part of Fire in the Mountains. Their enthusiasm did not feel like the routine appreciation artists sometimes express towards a festival or audience. They seemed genuinely moved by why they were there, invested in the people around them, and excited to participate in everything Fire in the Mountains represents. It was already overwhelming that both Ivar and Steve remembered and acknowledged me personally from working the previous year on the security team. They both greeted me with a genuine warmth and kindness, and neither interaction felt obligatory or performative. There's something deeply meaningful about being remembered by people whose work has mattered so much to you for years, especially when they treat you less like an anonymous staff member and more like somebody they're sincerely happy to see. After meeting Mike Scheit at one of the speaking workshops, he consistently made a point to say hello whenever we crossed paths. We also had a chance to talk a little bit about Yob history, which meant a great deal to me. Mike carries the same sincerity in person that people hear in his music, and it was impossible not to feel how fully invested he was in the purpose and community of the festival. John Baisley from Baroness was another pleasant surprise. He approached backstage and went to show me his badge to get in, and I told him I knew who he was and that he was good to go. And his response was, "But I don't know you. What's your name?" And he shook my hand and introduced himself properly and greeted me by name every other time we crossed paths at the fest. That was such a small action, but it said a tremendous amount about his character. It would have been very easy for him to simply walk through and never think twice about it. Instead, he made a point to acknowledge the person in front of him. I also want to give a shout out to Dave French and Aaron Riesberg from Yob. Dave remembered me from last year and praised my Collapsed Vein CD that I had given him. It was surreal, incredibly encouraging, and something that I'll carry with me for a long time. Aaron was very generous to spend time talking with me about his signature distortion pedal and sharing some knowledge about it. I'm extremely excited to see how that project goes, especially after getting to hear directly from him about how it's getting put together and some of the thoughts behind it. Those interactions mattered because they never felt transactional. They were reminders that the people creating the music that has affected us so deeply can still meet others with humility, curiosity, enthusiasm, and kindness. There are also an enormous number of people behind the scenes who deserve recognition. Jeremy Walker, thank you for creating and carrying another extraordinary festival. The amount of thought, risk, labor, coordination, and responsibility involved in building something like this is truly difficult to comprehend from the outside. Shane McCarthy, thank you for putting together such a stellar lineup and for giving my band Galvanist the opportunity to be a part of it. Being trusted with a place on that stage was not something any of us took lightly. Shannon Void, thank you for coordinating the media and handling the constant moving pieces surrounding the documentation and coverage. And thank you for discussing one goofy situation with me with patience. We got that taken care of. Beth Sullivan and Ollie Tripp, thank you for enduring my repeated ADA ride requests and making sure guests were receiving the support they needed. Thomas Fitzgerald and the entire food crew, thank you for keeping all of us fed throughout the festival. And just know that that work becomes absolutely essential when people are putting in long shifts under difficult conditions, and the food was consistently excellent. I want to thank Bear. You know who you are, Bear. Thank you for sewing the patch onto my hat for another patch and a C4 energy drink. That may be one of the most appropriate festival transactions imaginable. Most especially, I want to thank TJ Sullivan and Justin Strongman Oosley and the entire security team. This crew kept a tight ship. They looked after the safety of everyone attending, handling the constant demands of the festival, and still maintain a real sense of camaraderie throughout the week. Security work can be easily become cold and territorial, detached, and thankless. I've encountered plenty of teams where everyone simply completes their assignment and goes home, and this was not that. There was trust, there was communication, there was humor, there was genuine concern for one another. People took the work seriously without losing sight of the fact that we're all there contributing to something meaningful together. The fact that members of the security team deliberately plotted and gathered and rallied a massive pit during the Galvanist set meant more to me than I can properly explain. It was funny, it was chaotic, and completely sincere. Most importantly, it showed how much love and strength can exist inside a team when people genuinely support one another. I spent much of the festival standing beside these people, working the same long shifts and looking after the same crowd. Then, for one set, I crossed to the other side of the barricade and watched the people I had been working alongside become part of the crowd for us. That moment may summarize my entire Fire in the Mountains experience better than anything else. For most of the week, I was helping protect and maintain the experience. And then for a brief period, I was allowed to become part of the thing that I had been helping protect. Seeing the security team come together for Galvanist was more than just a funny festival moment or a good pit. It was a demonstration of support from people I respect, and it made me feel like our band was not simply just filling a slot in the schedule. We were being welcomed into the experience. I want to thank Sadie, Andreas, and Whitney for consistently checking on me during my shifts, making sure I had eaten, making sure I had water, and genuinely looking out for me. Those small acts matter tremendously during those long days when it's easy to become focused on the work and neglecting yourself. There's so many more people I could thank, and I know I'll probably forget some people here. Please understand that the omission is not for lack of gratitude. Everyone who worked, organized, performed, volunteered, cooked, drove, cleaned, built, documented, taught, attended, and otherwise contributed to helping create the experience. Thank you. I also need to thank my Galvanist bandmates. We would not have earned a place at this festival without the work everyone put into making such an awesome album and what it became this year. We did not land there through proximity, favors, entitlement, or simply knowing the right people. We created something strong enough to earn the trust of the people responsible for the festival, and then we had to step on the stage and prove that that trust was justified. Every rehearsal, every difficult decision, every revision, hours spent recording, every sacrifice, every moment spent pushing the material further contributed to us being there. I'm tremendously proud of what we've accomplished together. Getting to perform at Fire in the Mountains was not simply another show. It was a validation that the work connected with people beyond our immediate circle, and that it belonged in the company of an incredible and carefully assembled lineup. And I don't take that lightly. Finally, I wanted to thank my son Ian and my stepson Jacob. Both of you took a chance, stepped outside your normal environment, and joined the festival crew. You did not simply come along as my guests. You showed up, accepted responsibility, stayed true to your assignments, worked alongside the team, and earned your place there. That means more to me than you probably realize. Anytime someone puts their own name and reputation behind someone, there's an element of risk involved. The fact that you both held up your end means that I did not bring you selfishly or ask the team to carry you guys as a favor to me. You earned their respect independently through your own conduct and your own work. You stayed true to duty. You contributed. You handled yourselves well. You proved that bringing you into this environment was not a mistake or an indulgence. And I'm overwhelmingly proud of both of you. That is one of the experiences that I will carry with me strongly from the entire week. Watching you step into something unfamiliar and prove yourselves without needing me to do it for you. It also meant that I was able to share something deeply important to me with both of you while still watching you create your own place within it. That's something a parent can only hope for. Fire in the Mountains left me exhausted, grateful, proud, emotionally overwhelmed, and already missing the people involved. It reminded me that what heavy music can look like when it's connected to something beyond status, consumption, competition, ego, and spectacle. It showed what can happen when artists and workers, community members, young people, organizers, attendees are all treated as participants in the same shared experience. I know the phrase more than a music festival gets used frequently, but there is a reason people keep reaching for it. The performances matter. The setting matters. The lineup matters. But what stays with you is the sense that everyone contributed something, and for a brief period of time, all those contributions became part of the same living thing. People came from different places, different generations, different roles, different relationships to the music. Some were there to perform, some were there to work, some were there to learn. Some were there to support the mission. Some probably arrived thinking they were simply attending an incredible metal festival. By the end of it, it felt like many of those distinctions had become far less important. There was a shared purpose there that is difficult to explain to anyone who has not experienced it firsthand. Coming home means stepping away from that shared purpose back into normal routines, responsibilities, distance, noise, and isolation. That is why the return can feel so abrupt. You go from being completely immersed in a place where every day is filled with work, music, conversation, purpose, and constant human connection to being back in a world where all those things are separated again. The sadness of leaving is also evidence that something meaningful happened. Reflecting on it now not only makes me miss it, but it gives me joy and gratitude. It gives me enthusiasm for next year, for the relationships that may continue to grow, for what Firekeeper Alliance is building, for what Galvanists may do next, and for whatever other opportunities may come from having been a part of this. Thank you to everyone who trusted me, who worked beside me, welcomed me, remembered me, supported my band, encouraged my family, kept me fed, checked on me, taught me something, shared a conversation, or simply made the week better by being there. If I forgot to mention anyone specifically, please know that I appreciate you. And you probably already know who you are. Fire in the Mountains is something I can never forget. And if you keep sleeping on Fire in the Mountains, you are fucking up hard.